Marvelous, magnificent macros. These little babies are going to make or break your fitness progress. Why do we even need them? Not all calories are created equal. So in order to make sure we're moving in the right direction, we need to kind of break things down just a little bit, even if it means that we're tracking for a little bit and continuing to eat in an intuitive manner from then on. The only way you can really become intuitive and sharper with that intuition is by tracking your macros and knowing exactly how you're dividing up your nutrients. So let's talk a little bit about the basics of what it means to track macronutrients. First thing you're going to need is an app on your phone. There are a few apps out there. Take a look at whichever one works easiest for you and find what you like. Some people prefer some apps to other apps. I know there's LifeSum, there's MyFitnessPal. I personally use Lose It. There are many different apps to choose from. Just find what works best for you. Stay tuned to the end of the video. There is going to be a written example so you can see firsthand exactly how this works. Now, for this example, I'm going to assume that you've never tracked macronutrients before. So for this example, we're going to be working with a basic split. A very basic, universally recommended split is 40-40-20. Now, what this means is that 40% of our calories are going to come from protein, 40% of our calories are going to come from carbohydrates, and 20% of our calories are going to come from fats. Now, before we start, please understand that this is not meant to be medical advice. I am not a medical professional, and you should always check with your doctor or physician before starting any nutrition program, especially if you're on any medically necessary diet. Step number 1. I'm going to link it below. View the video that I had posted about how to count your calories. This is going to be the key for any macro tracking that you do. You need to know how many calories you need for your goal. Step number 2, since we already know that we want 40% of our daily calories to come from protein, find 40% of your daily calories. You can do this by taking your number of calories, multiply it times 0.40, which will show you 40% of your daily calories. This number is going to indicate how many calories of protein you should be getting in each day. Step 3. Find out how many calories we need for carbohydrates. So since we used 40% in the last example and we need 40% for carbohydrates, we can pretty much use the same exact number that we used from step number 2. But what you can do is, if you're factoring in a different percentage than the example, take the number of calories you have and times it point the percentage number. So move the decimal point over 2 spots to the left to find the percentage and multiply, and you have the calories of carbohydrates that you need. Step 4. We want to find out how many calories we need of fat. Again, take your calories and times that by your percentage of fat. So our calories are going to be times 0.20 since we need 20% of our calories to come from fat. Step 5. Since we have broken down our daily caloric needs into how much protein, fat, and carbs we need to find out how many grams that means from each category of macronutrient. Each gram of protein contains 4 calories. So there are 4 calories per 1 gram of protein. Take the number of calories that you have determined that you need from protein and divide that number by 4. This is how many grams of protein you need each day. Carbohydrates, we do them the exact same way. Take the number of calories that you need from carbohydrates and divide that by 4, because there are also 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate. Fat is a macronutrient that's a little more dense than carbs and fat, and a little more dense than both of them combined. So a gram of fat contains 9 calories. Take the amount of calories that you need for fat and divide that by 9, and you'll get how many grams of fat you need for the day. So that is it. Some simple math to help you break down exactly what you need to be eating in each category of macronutrient. Again, a 40-40-20 split is a very basic recommendation. If you haven't tracked macros in the past, you'll very likely find that you'll start seeing results with this breakdown, but they may be short-lived. And that's where other factors like meal timing becomes important, and adjusting your macronutrients in just the right way for your specific goal. That's where I come in. You can always send me a note. You can send me a message. I do offer nutrition coaching, help you plan out your macronutrients. I just want to keep this as simple as possible and offer up as much information as possible, because I know exactly how it feels to be working really hard and not getting the results that you think you should be getting. So if you look at your macronutrients and find that, oh, I just can't eat that much protein, don't want to eat that many carbs. If you are somebody who says that you're very carb sensitive, it could be because you've been eating so low carb for so long. Different things will happen once you trust a macronutrient breakdown, you trust the plan, and you could always manipulate things as needed. Up carbs, lower protein, up fat a little bit. It all depends, again, on what your specific goals are. Follow me on Instagram at Savoring Success. My website, savoringthesuccess.com. Leave a comment about any types of videos that you would like to see more of. I'm just offering information to help make it easier so you can effectively train your body for success. Okay, here is to all you visual learners like myself. This is purely for example purposes only. And right here, we're going to assume that step number 1 told you that based on your goals, based on what you're trying to do, you need 2,140 calories. So we figured out now how many calories we need. And we're going to take another look at the macronutrient breakdown. So 40-40-20, which is 40%, 40%, 20%. This refers to protein, carbs, and fats. Alright, so step numero uno is 2,140 calories, and we're going to times that by the percentage of protein to start. So in order to get the percentage to multiply it by, you have to move the decimal point over 2 places to the left. So hence 0.40. That gives us 856 calories that we can expect to come from protein. Step numbers 2 and 3 are the exact same thing. You're going to take the calories times the decimal of the percentage that you're looking for. So in this case, again, we have carbohydrates. It's going to be the same number as protein because we're trying to find 40%. Here we go. We're going to find fat, and we're going to take 2,140 calories times the decimal conversion of 20% to 0.20, which gives us 428. You can check your work very simply. Just add up all of the calorie numbers for protein, carbs, and fats, and that should definitely equal your calorie count that you started with. Alright, so let's see how many grams of each macronutrient we need. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. So what we're going to do is take the calories that we found that we need from protein, which is 856 calories out of our total calories for the day, and divide that by 4. We end up with 214 grams of protein, which is needed for this split. We're going to continue doing this with carbs. 1 gram of carbohydrate equals 4 calories. So we're going to end up with the same number that we had of protein. We're going to do this with the fat as well, with 1 gram of fat equaling 9 calories. So we're going to take our number of calories of fat needed, which is 428, and divide that by 9 to find 47.5 grams of fat that's needed. I never worry about the point, or I like to round my numbers off. I wouldn't even do 214 or 214. I'd probably do 215 or even 200. Those things aren't going to make a huge difference if you're just starting to track for the first time. So don't worry about that one little weird number. It doesn't have to be so crazy accurate. There you have it. I hope this example was very helpful. 40, 40, 20 macros, breaking down to their individual nutrient ratios, grams needed per macronutrient. And of course, if you were to check your work, you could do 214 times 4, 214 times 4, 48 times 9, and that number, of course, is going to give you your calorie number that you first started with. So there are a bunch of ways that you can check your work. Again, subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this, and thank you so much for watching. Over explanation. That's too crazy.